Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with SFO Grimhammer. The newest patch, Storm of Chaos, is going to drop today. I'm not sure what exact time, but until then I've got some last showcases to do for two very big ones actually. Today we're going to be talking about the Lizardmen and the Tomb Kings. The first is going to be the Lizardmen, which is this video, as they've had a pretty good update. More or less rework actually, so let's just jump right in because there's a lot to talk about. So we're going to start off with Mazdamundi with the following faction effects. Special Star Reading Dilemma. Alignments have unique effects and every slan has an extended skill tree. Diplomatic relations, minus 25 of most factions. Construction cost, minus 50% for Star Chamber buildings. Right cost, minus 25%. Spell resistance, 2% per rank achieved. Now, when we go into the Lord effects, we have the following. Targeting range plus 50% for spells. Winds of Magic Power Reserve Capacity plus 10. Unit experience gain per turn plus 50 for Lord's Army. Winds of Magic cost minus 10% for spells. Upkeep minus 20% for Temple Guard units in Lord's Army. Miscast base chance minus 10%, and armor plus 10% for Temple Guard units in Lord's Army. With the last effect being ability Bolt of the Old Ones. You're already getting a lot of effects here, and we're going to jump into campaign now. Alignments is a new resource that will be usable by all the Lizardmen factions, and it's gained from battles and events. Now you can use it in a variety of different ways depending on who you're playing, but Mazdamundi will take the most benefits out of this. As you can see, he also gets natural faction-wide bonuses like increased research rate, magic item drop chance, loads of different things, and it's going to make his faction a little bit stronger, which is going to be quite beneficial to you, as the higher the alignment, the better. It maxes out at 100, it can get lower, and you can get like smaller bonuses and so on, but usually as you're just battling through your campaign, you're going to be perfectly fine, and you're going to get loads and loads of more bonuses as you just keep aggressive, really. Now when we move on to star readings, these are unique dilemmas only for Mazdamundi, which can get you quite a decent amount of bonuses. This can be extra ammunition, weapon strength, missile strength, and it's for around 10 turns, which is pretty good bonuses all around. You'll have to spend alignments, but really it won't be too much of a problem as you're going to be constantly fighting anyway, because, well, Lustria is quite the Lustria ball, which is a good thing. Make sure that you're at least not spending too much time just chilling and you're actually getting into combat, which is what you want from a Warhammer game. We're moving on to Croq-Gar now, and don't worry, we'll be talking about the generic changes for the race as a whole later on, but for the faction effects we have the following. Embark on missions unlocking ancient items and war paint for most units. Upkeep minus 10% for armies led by Saurus Oldbloods. That's the whole army, which is pretty good. Saurus buildings grant additional bonuses to Saurus Scar veterans and Saurus Oldbloods. Weapon strength plus 1% per character rank for both Saurus Scar veterans and Saurus Oldbloods. Experience gain plus 25% for Saurus Scar veterans and Saurus Oldbloods. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is telling you to make a lot of Sauruses. Anyways, Lord effects we have the following. Upkeep minus 10% for Lord's Army. Enemy battle reinforcement time plus 50%. Ambush success chance plus 25% for Lord's Army. And finally, unit experience gain plus 25% for Saurus Warriors and Cold One Rider units in Lord's Army. Quite the good bonuses, especially if you're going to be going with loads and loads of Sauruses. On screen right now is an example of the special items that you can pick up from his special missions. The items are fairly powerful, and you will realize some of them even have faction-wide bonuses, but you're going to have to go on a little bit of a journey. So this one's quite basic, win 6 battles, but there's some which are a little bit harder. It just depends on what you actually need to do, and all in all, it's kind of nice. It just gives you a reason to go hunt for these ancient artifacts. And on screen right now is an example of the war paint, and this can only be done on your dinosaurs, not your Saurus, not your Kroq-Gars, not your Skinks. And I'm only just showing one example, but you can get a good gist of this. You can use alignment to boost up and make them stronger. You can even change what they're going to be good at, so either, increase the armor or make them better in melee damage. It very much depends. It means that you can tailor your dinos how you like. Now we're going to move on to Tehenhauin, who's got the following changes. In faction effects, we have upkeep plus 200% for Saurus infantry and Temple Guard units until completing stage 1 of the Prophecy of Sotek. Sacrificial offerings gained from winning battles can be offered to Sotek to receive a variety of powerful rewards. Speed plus 25% for Skink Lords and Heroes, unique unit, red-crested skinks with shields, and for the Lord effects we have the following: Corruption minus 5 for local province, Leadership plus 10 when fighting against Skaven and Lord's army, and Physical resistance 10% for skinks for Lord's army, so your skinks will actually be a little bit better. The sacrifices to Sotek themselves have been rebalanced a little bit, some of them have been improved, but generally it's the same thing. The campaign will continue to play in the same style as a normal Tehenhauin campaign, and that's a good thing because he does have a fun one, so yeah, let's move on. Moving on to Tic-Tac-Toe, we have the following faction effects: changeable faction-wide masteries effect and unique building set. Skink heroes start with a Pterodon mount. Rite of Zunki increases the campaign movement range of all armies and characters when performed. Campaign line of sight plus 25%. Pterodons gain a unique battle ability, unique unit, a Ancient Ripidactyl, and finally for the Lord effects we have upkeep minus 20% for Pterodon riders, Ripidactyl riders, and Oxyotl units, melee attack plus 10 when in foreign territory for Lord's army, and missile damage plus 100% for Skink cohort Javelin units in Lord's army. Quite the good bonuses. If we move on to Gor-Rok, we have the following faction effects: Rite of Resilience, barrier, and defense bonuses for Sauruses. Starts with control of Lord Kroak that is affected by alignments and has an extended skill tree. Barrier hit points plus 500 for all units when defending settlements. Defensive supplies plus 500. For the Lord effects we have the following: unit mass plus 25% for Lord's army, missile resistance 10% for Lord's army, and physical resistance 10% when defending for Lord's army. You're going to be quite the defensive force here. Now, Lord Kroak is very powerful irrespective of what faction you choose to play. However, with Gor-Rok he will be a lot stronger as he's going to have access to a lot more bonuses overall. He's got a few unique skill lines which is going to work with faction-wide bonuses, loads of faction-wide bonuses, and the idea is he's going to work as a secondary tech tree essentially. So you can get some of these bonuses automatically as you get ranks. The others, not so much. You're going to have to spend skill points, but you can basically boost up your economy or generally your whole faction just by really just playing, which is a great thing because it kind of makes sense. You know, he is the strongest lizardman around, so if you're dedicating yourself to Lord Kroak, it makes sense to him to offer you boons. Now, we're going to move on to our good friend Nakai, and his faction effects are as follows. Nakai's Horde unlocks units while other hordes use global recruitment to get access to them. Nakai's Vassal occupies the settlements conquered. More settlements controlled come with increasing rewards. Recruit rank plus 5 for Kroak-Gar Ancients. Ambush defense chance plus 25%. For the Lord effects we have the following: recruitment cost minus 40% for Kroak-Gars and Sacred Kroak-Gar units in Lord's army. Unit experience gain plus 100 for all armies faction-wide, and finally melee defense plus 10 for Kroak-Gars and Sacred Kroak-Gar units in Lord's army. As you can tell, this is the Kroak-Gar faction. I mean, surprise, surprise, it's a Kroak-Gar legendary lord. There's been a general rework of the tech tree that Nakai has access to. Some of them have just changed up, they've been updated in terms of benefits and so on, just to make it a little bit better. Then you've also got access to a bunch new technology, which is going to add in a little bit more flavor. We're not going to go through it all. I'm going to let you guys discover it yourselves, purely because I haven't really played too much of Nakai through this patch. There are a lot of lords. Keep in mind that a lot of changes have come here, and yeah, there's an absolute load. Plus, if you're interested in tech changes, just you wait till you see the tech change for the standard factions. We're finally at Oxyotl, and yep, I forgot that there's actually so many legendary lords for the Lizardmen, to be honest. But let's move on to the faction effects. Silent Sanctum unlocks long-lost sanctums in any visible region to grant Oxyotl local bonuses and secret visibility. Additional plus 1 melee attack, melee defense, and leadership per experience rank for all skink infantry. An additional plus 1% speed and missile damage per experience rank for all skink infantry. Immune to Chaos Undivided Corruption and Chaos Waste Attrition. Upkeep minus 10% for Lords and Heroes. When we go into the Lord effects, we have the following. Immune to diplomatic penalties from trespassing for Lord's army. Has access to Masterful Ambush stance requiring less movement range to adopt and with a reduced detection chance for Lord's army. Armor-piercing missile damage plus 50% for all skink infantry units in Lord's army, and experience gain for units plus 200% when fighting against the forces of chaos for Lord's army. Quite the big one. So when it comes to construction, there's a few things that you need to know. A lot of buildings have been reworked because some of them needed some benefits, some of them had to remove certain things, but in general, it's going to be very similar. Not much is going to change. There's some new buildings too, which is going to help you with a lot of administration for your areas, a lot of faction-wide bonuses, or even just province-wide, but it's definitely going to allow you to stay still if you need to for a while whilst you're recruiting, because sometimes some of the units do take a while to recruit. And don't you worry about some buildings which you need for tech, because that's going to change, but we'll talk about that in just a little second. What we do need to talk about right now is that the benefits from the whole geomantic web, which a lot of people don't like, has been changed. You can see all the bonuses. I'm just cycling through them right now. You've even got some faction-wide bonuses, a lot of faction-wide bonuses. They're generally going to be a lot better and a lot more worth it for you to actually go and conquer these settlements which are linked to the geomantic web. So yeah, it's just not changing it, but rather making it useful, which was kind of needed because yeah, let's be honest, in vanilla, you could kind of ignore that. When it comes to the rights, you will see that some stuff has changed around. Some of them are even free now. They've been rebalanced. The free ones are actually going to be quite more useful and more worth it for you to use, as really most people would just use it to wake up Aslan or get the Feral Carnosaur army, whereas now you've got a reason to use Rite of Ferocity or even Rite of Sotek, and yeah, can't really complain about it. It's a good thing. Perhaps the best thing about this change is that the Lizardmen have had a massive overhaul to their tech tree. As you can tell, it is completely different, and it's not the same way as how the Lizardmen had it before, where a lot of tech was tied to a lot of buildings, and it just became really, really frustrating because you kind of had to play house planner trying to decide what buildings to get be able to get certain techs and so on. I've been enjoying a Mazdamundi campaign very recently, and this is so much better. Like, the frustration is completely gone because I absolutely despised that tech tree that was introduced all the way back in Warhammer 2's launch. It's just not good. It's surprising that it hasn't really changed over the years, considering that we have had a decent amount of Lizardmen DLC. You never know for the future officially, but until then, you have a very good workaround with SFO. Now, lastly, when it comes to campaign, Slan are much more powerful now. Slan are much, much more powerful now. So you can get loads of different abilities. They've got stuff to kind of work them as a mini tech tree and stuff. Now, Slan have always been very good, right? Let's be honest, they're Slan, right? They're supposed to be very, very powerful. But yeah, I've really liked how the Slan have been working in SFO. They feel like a very unique and rare type of unit that you will get every now and then, because obviously you've got the right and so on, but it's going to take a while. Now it just feels a bit more rewarding when you actually get your hands on one. Not a lot of unique units, but there are a few. First up, we've got the Feral Cold Ones. Yes, they've already been in game, but now they're properly recruitable, and it's not just based on summons and stuff, so you can just field as many good boys and good girls as you wish, which, kind of works well, as there are certain armies that you kind of want to do that with. Like when I was playing with Croq-Gar, I was using a lot of Cold Ones, I was using a lot of Sauruses, and I kind of wanted to have some Feral Cold Ones to act as my War Dogs, because yeah, I mean, it just kind of makes sense, right? And yeah, worked out quite well. They play very, very well. They still will not be like a top tier unit, because at the end of the day, they're basically just glorified war dogs, but they're kind of cool. Next, we do have the red-crested skinks with shields, and these are just for Tehenhauin, which again makes perfect sense considering that, yeah, a lot of red-crested skinks were going to fall under his banner. It gives you a frontline unit, which it's not going to be the best unit out there, and you can't really expect the skink to be one of those types of units that are just going to be completely overwhelming, but just having the option and having something shielded, I mean, that's always a good thing, isn't it? We've got the Ancient Ripidactyl for tic-tac-toe only, and yeah, big single-entity Ripidactyl. Powerful, very strong. The idea is you kind of want a big monster, and yeah, the Oxyotl is cool and stuff, but it makes sense to use Ripidactyls, doesn't it? Especially for tic-tac-toe, where you're going to be on the skies a lot. I mean, come on, it looks kind of cool. And yeah, you know, it's Vanguard, it's anti-large, armor piercing. This is a monster hunter, and I kind of like it for it. There's a legendary unit in the form of the Honor Guard of Oxyotl. These are Temple Guards, so Halberd Infantry, very, very powerful. It's a legendary unit. The Juggernaut, they've got area attacks, special aura. Generally, you're going to be using these quite often, I'd say, as they can do quite a lot. They can honestly do quite a lot. I like them. There's not really too much to talk about, because at the end of the day, they're just another Temple Guard unit, right? There's access to 2 new Regiments of Renown. These are actually replacing some older ones. So a Maxon's Barb is replacing a Maxon's Barbs. Now it's just a singular entity, a very large big boy. And then finally, the Cold One Rider Regiments of Renown have been replaced by Tehenhauin Skink Riders, which are a throwback to like 4th edition? 4th edition or 5th edition. But yeah, it's a nice little throwback, which is kind of nice. And it makes them a tad more unique compared to their original counterparts. Now, with all that being said, I do think that the Lizardmen are in a much better place. They do feel a lot better. There's just so much quality of life improvements. Not just basically, you know, the stuff for like the geomantic web and so on, but just changing by itself, just changing the tech tree to be much more user-friendly and without the headache. I think that just really did fix up a lot of problems. Like, I actually had fun playing the Lizardmen, and I can't remember the last time I played the Lizardmen that wasn't linked up to, say, a content drop like, you know, Oxyotl being released. So yeah, this definitely shows that it's a lot better. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Lizardmen changes in the comments below. This is going to help for feedback to the SFO team, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. There's going to be another video this afternoon. There's a lot coming out, and I'm extremely stressed because I've barely set things to the Warhammer reveals for tabletop. See you everyone, have a good day.